Hi, this is Aaron Engelman from Two Teachers Tax Service in Lyman, South Carolina. Today we're going to talk about itemized deductions. Is itemizing worth the effort? There's two ways to take deductions on your personal return, and we're talking about Form 1040. There's the standard deduction, which is a fixed amount and you don't need any receipts. If you're single for 2025, your standard deduction is $15,750. Head of household filers for 2025, $23,625. If you're married filing jointly for 2025, your standard deduction is $31,500. Itemized deductions, what you do is you add up all of the allowable expenses using Schedule A, and then you choose either the standard deduction or itemized deductions, whichever way gives you the largest deduction. There are some expenses and limits for itemized deductions. So the common itemized expenses with a minimum are unreimbursed medical expenses must exceed 7.5% of your adjusted gross income before they are deductible. So those of you with $100,000 income, 7.5% of that would be $7,500. And so until you get to 7,501, none of your medical expenses are deductible. Casualty and theft losses must exceed 10% of your adjusted gross income and must be attributable to a federally declared disaster. So if you're in a federally declared disaster area, same type of math. If you make $100,000, 10% of $100,000 is $10,000. So until you get to $10,001, nothing is deductible. There are some common itemized expenses with a maximum. First of all, state and local taxes. For 2025, the SALT cap, again, state and local taxes cap, has been increased from $10,000 to $40,000 for singles and married filing jointly. This is primarily going to be made up of your property taxes. So if you live in a place with high property taxes, just off the top of my mind, I'm thinking of some New York people, maybe people who live in Chicago or in California. You may have some pretty decent property taxes that are over $10,000 and may benefit from this change for 2025. Charitable donations are another itemized expense, and the maximum that you can give away and deduct is 60% of your adjusted gross income. Why you might not want to itemize. First of all, for simplicity's sake, there's no tracking of receipts. Often there is a higher value to the standard deduction. It's often higher than your itemized deductions totaled up. I have found that those who itemize are those who give away a lot of money as charitable deductions and those with very high unreimbursed medical expenses. There is a lower audit risk. And so if you take the standard deduction, you have a much lower audit risk than if you itemize. So do you need to keep track? Keep itemizing your records if you own a home with a very large mortgage, you live in a state with high property tax, you made very large charitable contributions, and you have high medical expenses, then it's probably worth it. If these don't apply to you, the standard deduction is likely better. So for many taxpayers, itemizing deductions can feel overwhelming. You probably don't need to itemize if you live in a low tax state, if you don't have significant medical bills, if you haven't given large amounts to charity, and you don't have a large mortgage. Two Teachers Tax Service does the math for you. We always check to see which method will give you the largest deduction and the lowest tax bill. In addition to that, once we've done your taxes, we can tell you, hey, stop keeping track of all of this stuff, or hey, it's worth it to keep track of this. Contact us at 269-449-8277 or by email at twoteacherstax@gmail.com. Thank you.